It's every day. And it's totally not, I just, you know.
And it's just such a
Good afternoon, everybody.
my 10-year-old.
Good afternoon.
Well, it probably was, it used to be.
How are folks doing?
People eat a lot of beans.
You better bang something.
Yeah.
Where we came from.
Right,
Is there, you guys want to get started? Yes.
yes.
Awesome. So welcome. There's an agenda in front of everybody. Thank you for doing that. And we're going to use the screen tonight to kind of have folks follow along as we go through the agenda. I think the first thing we wanted to do was just check in with folks about Maple Sunday. Did
Yesterday.
most everyone have a chance to check that out?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Went to breakfast, good.
blueberry pancakes was
Follow along. Awesome.
He checked it out too, I saw
I
that.
I did check it out. The roads were a little treacherous, but the pancakes were worth it. Did everybody see the comp plan?
Yeah, it was
Station
over by the
online?
trash cans.
As it was in the beginning, because I was not causing an issue with, I want to make sure the influx in the beginning didn't bother anyone, but then part, like 2 hours in, it moved to the front door, near the front door.
But you know what? Everyone had to go to the trash can, so.
That's what I figured too, but I decided to shift it up, so it didn't become just like, whatever.
See, I thought you should have been a nudge. I know you
I'm
didn't want
not-
to bother anyone, but I would have said, that would have been a perfect place to
Well,
bother.
the problem is that I think my husband, we disagree, because he reminded me that this is the fire department's fundraiser.
I get that.
And that I am not supposed to overstep. So I can mention it, I can do stuff, but
Well, and it was on the placemat and.
yes, it was on the placemat.
Right.
I pointed it out a few times to some people, and I saw people walking away with some of the
Show him all the
paperwork
Yeah,
and
I did
everything,
too.
so.
places, Conservation.
So yes, we didn't beat everyone on the head. I should have just given you the conditioning survey and let you walk around.
Oh, I would have beat him.
I know you would have, and then Phil would be mad at you and not me.
So you had
See-
flyers to hand out?
I had these.
Great.
And then I had the other, just the big one that just says it with the QR code, and then I had the visioning, paper visioning survey,
Perfect.
and pens.
Great. Yeah, has everybody seen these flyers that you can grab from Garrett?
If anybody wants them, I've got tons of them, I can print out
Hand them
right now.
out. Give them to everyone around. Make
Yeah,
sure all your
sure.
friends
Take as
have
many as
them
you
on
want.
their fridge.
They shouldn't need them
But
on
not
the fridge,
just on
they
their
should just
fridge.
QR code.
Exactly.
Can I get a little bundle and I'll start on the other side?
Last time we kind of talked about, like an elevator pitch and a little bit of uncertainty how to frame this. And we've got one on the back of the flyers to give you guys kind of an idea, a place to start. But I thought we would just take a couple minutes and talk about how you feel about your pitch. Do you feel like you can sell this to everyone? Get people involved, get people excited. What has worked in some conversations? Who have you talked to already? Do you have tips for other people?
I told them if they don't give us their opinion, they're gonna have to deal with what we think.
That's convincing.
And how about your taxes?
You need them.
I said that we may have a chance to get grants.
Your money always counts.
I'd say if you don't want me bothering you, just fill out the survey. And I won't bother you. It's
Little
pretty simple.
branding.
It does work, don't it?
It does work.
So some of those things are on the sheet and some are not on the sheet. But I think that it's really up to you on what makes sense. We wanted to have something in writing so you could just hand it out or let people pick it up and then you don't need to talk to folks. But if you're comfortable talking with folks and kind of putting things in your own words, that's very appropriate as well. So did you want to
Like this.
envision like people turning to their neighbors and just kind of like,
Yeah,
I did, we did. We did the
I'm not
library.
doing it, I'm not
We did the groups.
so how many people here want to take a couple minutes right now to kind of read through and talk with your seatmates and just kind of do that, or are you more comfortable just kind of taking this home and reading it on your own?
Which is,
Take this home?
Yeah.
you want home.
I can read it.
Definitely
already read
take
it.
those home. We were wanting to leave just a couple minutes in case people wanted to practice
What's this
with
word?
with
Oh, no,
people
I
here.
already read it and I already said it.
All right.
We just want to make sure you're confident because unfortunately we are not here in town all the time. So you are the ones who really have to be confident talking about this with everyone.
Could you send this out as an email?
Absolutely.
Because like I want to hit my association, it's 28 homes in my association, I just want to turn it,
Perfect.
rather than being too wordy.
I can absolutely send it out.
Thank you.
One of the things I think we need to educate our fellow citizens about is the new state laws related to lot sizes and other provisions. Not sure they fit well with our current comprehensive plan or any comprehensive plan we might be involved with, because they basically are a diktat from the state as to lot size and other provisions. I believe one of the best things we could do is act proactively in terms of perhaps have a conversation with our local politicians at the state level and express our opinions and concerns to them about the state law and how it affects our ability to come up with a functioning comprehensive plan. Our original plan, I think, was more thought out, and in terms of what their attempt was to accomplish in terms of reducing population density in the rural districts, I think it was tailored to that and did a well enough job over the last decade or so. But the real challenge is going to be the state mandates that are coming, and if we want to maintain the rural character, it's difficult if the state is going to mandate possible 3 units on any buildable lot in town, so it implicates changes things. In our current plan, we have the ability to have more concentrated developments already. So this is like taking a plan that's already designed to allow that and then throwing those, how much else per. But thank you for listening. It's just something I thought, and talking to the politicians might not be a bad idea about it.
We'll talk more about the future land use map specifically as it relates to those statutes that have been very much at the front of people's minds the last couple of years.
Well, educating the public, I think the people in town understood that there's going to be implications on our ability to affect growth in town because of those statutes. So it's something the persons here should be aware of, because it does mandate certain things that could affect our, overall desire to have a rural town.
So I think the next conversation we get into about the first public workshop, where we want to have some of those discussions with people about types of development, amounts of development, places to preserve, those kinds of things, it's very much going to be front and center at that first workshop. So before we jump right into that, did you want to give a quick survey update as to where we are with numbers and?
Yeah. So we're at 71 responses to the online survey. I've got 7 hard copies in addition to that. And maybe some of you, maybe the town has more hard copies that have been brought back as well. So I'm guessing we're around 80 responses, which is great, and they'll keep going.
Do you have a little synopsis of each thing, what they say, some of the main points?
We do, but right now it's really just in the data collection stage. So very soon, we'll start going into what's been coming in.
Do you know if any of those were completed yesterday? Just out of
I
curiosity.
haven't looked too
Okay.
closely at them.
I think we did check last week. I know there's at least, isn't there like?
At least in the last week, it's been 10 to 15.
I think we are still waiting for the Maple Sunday bump.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if anybody did it while they were like
Exactly, yeah.
sitting there or anything.
Yeah,
I don't
that-
think
that's
they
our
did it
hope.
while they were there, and I didn't think that they had to, because they were having.
No, they don't have to,
Yeah.
but it's
Hopefully
pretty
they
quick.
remembered while
So
they
like if
got
I
home.
saw something like that, I'd be like, you know.
That'd be nice.
So take it with you.
So all these ideas we had last time about the places to put them up, the gas station, post office, the dump, Jordan store, who actually is gonna do that? Oh,
So
awesome.
they're up at the post office. I saw them.
So I've done the flyers that I sent out everywhere. Those are up at, they're here, the town hall down there, the dump, post office, library, and Jordan's. And I also sent out just a pretty basic flyer that would go in the shopping guide that would, go in everybody's mail. But, the shopping guide, I feel like it does kind of have a limited reach, just because I get the shopping guide and I kind of just check the
There's a
incineration.
lot of good information in that.
But that was my easiest, cheapest way to be straight into everybody's mailboxes. Easy
That's
peasy.
good.
So, there are a couple things we brought, that Garrett has volunteered to, also put up. There's a couple questions from the survey. This is what we talked about being the quick and easy while people are coming in to check out a library book or register a car, they can put a Post-it note on, the board, answer a question, and those would be the ones that move around. But I think I would like to remind everybody that there are other flyers in addition to the handouts that would be great for people to, if there are places in town that you know of that don't have any of that yet, whether it's clubs, churches, places you go. I heard people just today say that they're looking for things to email to people. So all of that is definitely part of the committee's role, as, we talked about being kind of the ambassador for this and getting this out. So as much as you can do, that will be helpful for the effort.
I did pass out some stuff at the school board, at the school meeting last week too, so hopefully. And I made a poster and hung it up at the dump. Nice.
I saw it,
Nice,
thank
good,
you.
Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
good.
So people saw that poster?
I did,
Gonna see
yep,
somebody else.
it's working.
And good person.
I'll go to Sportsman's and have a beer Wednesday and make sure I talk to people.
There you go.
Good.
The things you gotta do.
Yeah.
Things you gotta do.
Have
You're
beer.
doing bingo now. Get the bingo night.
Well, all right, Thursday.
I think it's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll go Thursday.
Gonna avoid bingo.
So, one of the things we started to talk about at the last meeting 3 weeks ago, and we decided to just kind of put it in the parking lot, because we got on that really good discussion about flyers and community events and those kinds of things. We wanted to talk about what we call Community Workshop number 1, which is that visioning and land use workshop. We had originally envisioned that happening relatively early in the process. And at the last meeting, we said, well, this isn't really something, if we do it in April, we'll get certain people. If we do it in June, we might get a different group of people, because there's different people in town in June than there are in April. So I think that was kind of about as far as we took the discussion. I think there was a desire to, if there was a sweet spot to get some number of folks who are only around in the summer, balanced with folks who are here year-round, thinking about when that might be. But I think our goal before we leave this place today is to get a sense of, at least within a week or two, when should we be having this meeting, in order to try and get a good cross-section of folks, and where should the meeting be? It seems like there's a lot of things at the building down the hill. But then also, what would be the best way to do this? And if you think back, we talked about either just an open house workshop where people can kind of pop in and stay for 10 minutes or stay for an hour and a half, versus a presentation in a more structured kind of table activities and that kind of stuff. So I think it's the when are we gonna do this and the how are we gonna do this, and then that might honestly shape where we do it. Yeah.
I want to talk about the how. We have a beach committee. The beach is probably Sebago's crown jewel, I'd say, where a lot of people would be interested. If we give a smaller, focused conversation and have a workshop about the beach, it'll help our beach committee. It will get people engaged in what we're trying to do. I think if we say we're comprehensive plan, it's just too big, and people are gonna blow it off. But if you talk about what are we gonna do at the beach as part of our comprehensive plan, might be a way to get people to engage and come in and understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
And do multiple workshops.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, why do we have to just do one? I think we should do one sooner and then do one a little further along. That way we know direction what the first group said and all that.
Right. So I think that this is touching on an idea that, I'm trying to think if maybe this was even at the select board meeting in December when we came, or if it was in the very first January meeting, where we said, you know, the work we do for this first workshop and the materials we present for this first workshop, we want you to have this. And we talked about the possibility of, you know, not knowing who's on the committee and how energetic and, you know, how much gumption people would have for this. We could run the first workshop at that community level, but if you wanted to do a smaller one, beach focus, or a recreation focus or a school focus, you can kind of use the same materials and presentation and handouts and do a whole series of these things, either focused on different geographies or interest groups in town, and then kind of bring those back, and if they're, you know, based on the same materials, we could kind of collate them all together and have them work in essentially a series like that.
Did we ever decide if we were gonna put them in the kids' Friday packets going home from school?
We do want to coordinate with the school. Yeah, we've had some early outreach, but we haven't gotten too far down that road yet.
Sort of going along with what you were saying, maybe we could have different little groups at that beach meeting. So you'd have a beach committee group, and maybe you'd have land use group, or you'd have different pieces of the comprehensive plan, and people could come to those different tables of where their interest laid and ask questions, or maybe that way you could, you know, get their opinions of how they felt about things at that point.
I missed the last meeting, I'm sorry. Did you decide, the group decide to do a mailing at all?
We talked about a mailer. We have not done a mailer yet. I think that there was a question about if there was a town budget to do a separate mailer. Some people said, you know, it really wouldn't be necessarily a ton of money, but it wasn't clear if that money was available to do that. I think a lot of people were like, if we can do one, we should do one.
Yeah.
But we haven't.
Phil was going to check into that.
Okay.
Phil Lowe was going to.
He was going to try to put it into the tax bill, but I don't.
But that doesn't go out
until
November, because we already have our tax bill.
right. So that's a little late.
Yeah.
That, and I don't want it.
Let's bug him on his vacation.
Yeah.
Call him up.
Well, we should do one, but if it's wicked expensive, that's.
I wouldn't, yeah.
I think you can do them fairly, so that would come out of the town budget, not the contract for you guys?
We didn't budget a townwide mailing.
Okay.
We can help support that.
Oh, and under the old comprehensive plan, it stated that they did 2 mailings, and I believe the first one, the response was just over 50%. And then they did a second, and I think that was somewhere around 25% respondents.
I would think you just need
Yeah,
one.
it's never very.
50% is
Yeah.
That sounds good, yeah.
Is it?
That would
I
be
think that would be
great.
great, 50% of the people's opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know what it costs.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, there was like
Maybe
600
800
that got
bucks.
sent out that time.
That's good.
it's maybe 800 bucks. That's how much it'll
There
cost,
must be somewhere in the budget for that.
I would think.
Let me work with Garrett a little bit more and see if we can do something. I know we've put together, postcards, so it could go out in like a bulk mailing if that's available. Something very
postcard.
similar to that, yeah. So, I'll have an update on that for the next meeting. I think it would be good to promote awareness of the survey. It would also be good to advertise a first community workshop. That if you can just do like a couple things,
yeah.
it's really a one-sided thing, because one side is pretty much the mailing address and the stamp and that kind of stuff. So it's like essentially a little smaller than the sheet that you have in front of you, just a normal postcard size. And it could be something that would say, here's the QR code, here's the first workshop, lots of ways to get involved, hope to see you part of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if we stick on the format of this a little bit, it sounds like maybe, is it fair to say that the idea here in town is that having something a little less formal, a little more kind of drop in and go to a station or two, rather than, make sure you're here at 6 because the presentation starts at 6:15 and then we need you to stay for another hour and a half to,
Yeah, I'd say informal is better.
okay.
Yeah, we use a lot of young people when they're too early too.
Yeah, I think we pretty well established last time, people wanted something short.
And it can be as short or as long as they want, based on how much they want to engage, right? But you gotta provide food or snacks or something.
Yeah, but I think a dinner is not the way to go because everybody gets too social and it's more eating than it is learning about anything,
Okay.
other than the food.
That was one of the ideas we had suggested is, if it was a community potluck, there would be a storytelling aspect to it. We would want to work with an organization out of Gray called Community Plate for this. And they do a pretty good job of not just having it be about the food, but the food is the excuse to get together and talk about, whatever it is that people are being brought together for. So in this instance, it would be about the community. They would line up some storytellers, they call them, folks in town who can, either talk about the old days or talk about an experience and then kind of relate that to the work that we all need to be doing, thinking about the future. It can be good, but it's really about making connections in a community. And when I come to Sebago, I feel like there's a lot of community already. I think that there are people involved, there are people who go to events. I would push a little stronger maybe, maybe not push stronger, but I would encourage you not to discount a meal where people can just kind of sit down and if you are in a kind of situation where you need people to talk to their neighbors or need people to talk to folks who might be in a place where there isn't a lot of that social connectivity, it can be really, really cool, but maybe that's not where you are.
What
I feel
about
like
kids?
Well, we had a nice party down here for the 200th anniversary.
Yeah,
There was a meal and people enjoyed sitting around, and they had a short presentation. Luckily, they fed people before they let the politicians speak, so that went well. But that
Just
was a
didn't get
nice
as
little,
much of a turnout.
maybe a short 20-minute presentation of what's going on.
okay.
What you're gonna find too is there's always the same people at these events, like what you see, we're the ones that are engaged.
Right.
We really need the families with children
Yes.
And I don't foresee them coming. Like,
I
Well,
I
can't
can't
get
get any of
Let's figure out what they want.
Yeah.
Recreation, because they all want their kids in
Yeah.
soccer, baseball, et cetera. Let's get them where they have interest. Where do they want the town to be? And I'll tell you why it's important. I just visited my parents Saturday, my hometown. My father, who's late 80s, took me out to show a playground. And how cool this playground was. And I'm like, what do you care? He's like, well, look at it. Wouldn't you take your kids to this playground? But my point of it is,
He took you.
he took me.
Did you ride this one?
He's like, look at that slide. I go, I'm not going on that slide. But my point is that when you get into recreation, it kind of is the identity of your town.
Yeah.
And it builds so much, I don't know, passion for the direction of the town. And you need those people. They don't come to anything. They're too busy, you know, except for you, of course, you can't.
We are
You're
coming into
basketball.
baseball and softball season,
I was gonna
maybe
say,
we need to be doing tables at,
Rec's doing a spring fling thing at the playground on the
there we go, we can set it
11th
there.
or something.
We could do free, we could do ice cream or something.
We could actually put stuff at the snack shack if it's open for the ball games
Yeah.
too. I mean, do we have a date when the survey's closing?
No, not
Well,
yet.
one of the things that didn't
Certainly
work,
past the first meeting, so we'll need to figure that date out.
one of the things that didn't work down here was that it was held on a Tuesday night. And if it was held on like a Saturday at 11, and basically sold to the kids at school as a free meal for the kids, and
Right, that gets people.
show up and we'll do a little presentation and you can get a meal for the kids,
Even coffee and donuts and hot chocolate.
something like that.
Yeah.
That was a good meal they put on and fed me well.
Do you think there'd be room at the school to do, what if we did something at like 3 o'clock at the school?
The school has only that small, it's their combo cafeteria, meeting room, et cetera, PE. Yeah, yeah. It's okay for smaller meetings, but it's not, is it, I don't think it's even this big.
Yeah,
It's like 2 times the size of this
It's a
room.
little bigger?
Is it really, didn't feel like
I'd say
that.
it's twice the size.
Maybe it's-
Yeah, it's about twice as small.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, don't get too crazy. I don't think we're gonna fill the room.
I don't, yeah, I think especially if it's a come and go event, I think it would probably be an okay size.
Busy lives, busy lives.
Yeah. But the spring fling, it's like our delayed Easter egg hunt, and they're doing all sorts of stuff on April 18th. We can talk to Cameron.
Yeah, that brings a lot of people.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
But they're concentrated on the egg hunt, right? That's it.
That takes 5
Should be able to
days,
go.
but the kids run around, the parents are just hanging
Was it-
out usually.
Did you say that was the 11th or the 18th?
It's the 18th.
The Girl Scouts might help out too, and they're gonna be having their
They
stands.
sell cookies there usually.
Yeah, they're gonna have their tables with the cookies.
I'm not saying we need to like make this our formal event, but like
Yeah,
at least it's a chance to be there to reach the parents and
It's a great
Right.
table.
Meet
start.
people where they are, that's,
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with a school, I don't know if this is out of bounds or not, but have the kids do a poster of what a comprehensive plan means to them? What do they want their town to look like? And then you have the parents come on like kid night, come see the posters. And try to drag them in and use the kids as the reason why they come in, but
Right.
does that create, can you do that? Have you ever done anything like that? But
We've done some of that. I think it'd be easier in a place like Sebago where a lot of places we work have a school district and there's multiple towns involved in the school. So like in Freeport, the school district was like, we can't do this because there's kids from Durham and Powell here. And I'm like, so what? But they will also sometimes have rules about what they can send home and what they can email and that kind of stuff. In other communities, the school is a great partner and they do stuff like that. We get invited in for assemblies or meet with high school student council, that kind of stuff. So I would love to think more about that.
We probably call the principal or the superintendent and see what ideas they had.
Yeah.
It's a town school, by the way.
Yeah,
Owned by the
yeah,
town.
it's owned by.
it's only Sebago,
Right.
so
So,
I don't know, leverage it.
exactly, yeah.
Because anything that's done here affects the school.
We've done some cool stuff with like draw a map of where you live and give them a little bit of instruction, but just kind of like try and let, you know, some kids will just draw literally their house and their yard and maybe their neighbor's house, and other times they draw like all these crazy paths to everywhere they go during the, you know, week. So it's, you know, those are really great conversations.
What's your favorite thing about
I think you
Sebago?
saw some really cool posters.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yes,
You know,
Could even be the cover of our comprehensive.
it could do a lot. The winner gets that, or, I mean, they're gonna draw the beach, they're gonna draw the baseball field, I mean, it's,
At the 200th anniversary, they did have that presentation on the back wall of
I saw
students.
oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Basically answering that question, like,
Yeah.
what did Sebago used to be like? What is it like now? What's my favorite place? What will it be like in the future? So I would love to be able to incorporate those drawings and just figuring out the connection to the school and if we can make that happen.
last meeting, we were talking about a logo, I think it's a good place to get one.
Hmm.
From the kids.
You know, if we talk to the art teacher, she might jump onto this.
She might think that's
do
fun.
her art classes.
I reached out to the principal about that, but maybe there's a better way to kind of make a connection about specifically that project that the school was.
He wasn't open to it, or?
I haven't heard, so I don't wanna, maybe there's somebody else who I can reach out to, or somebody here who's more.
We can get down and chat.
Yeah, Dr. John.
Probably have to relate how it affects the school, you know? If we need more homes and we need more land, maybe a lot of that is the town, so, you know, maybe we won't have a ball field. You know, you have that nice big playground, want a house there? You know?
Well, they had a meeting this week, well, last week, and he specifically said the town's gonna grow. There's gonna be a lot more houses, so
Yeah.
they are thinking it, so why not be part of it?
Yeah.
You know, Spice does a lot of work.
Yeah.
The school, just at the end of the school day, and they might be able to integrate a program that's
Yeah.
the drawings and the likes for the kids.
What's Spice?
There's just a group of
Parents.
folks that support the school system.
So like,
Almost like a booster for.
Almost like a booster, and they do at least one program a month, more than that in many cases. They'll come in at the end of the day.
Also, the Girl Scouts are always looking for something to do that would be community-based.
Oh, get your community
we're-
badge.
We're starting to move into the next thing we want to do, which is a little bit of that network analysis that we talked about at the last meeting as well. But before we completely shift into that, I've got a note that an informal drop-in type open house with stations
Snacks.
And food.
And food.
and food.
Gotta have food, you won't bring anybody.
All right.
We'll have Kurt do a talent show. He's not here to say no.
So,
Not to beat a dead horse or anything, but we do have the snack shack down at the ball fields.
okay.
Could we actually like use that as the center and provide food from there, maybe? Just an idea.
I like the idea of being there for the 18th, and I like the idea of being at the beach for certain, I don't know if it's like, were you thinking of a specific event, or like having.
No, not at the
No,
beach, but above the beach. I mean, we have a committee that is probably gonna, how many people are in? There's gonna be 8 different opinions.
Okay.
So, I mean, everyone has an opinion about the beach, I
Yep.
think.
So if we're gonna do this as an open house, is the best time to do this, you know, one thing I had said is like just start it in the afternoon maybe at the school if they would let us in, or we could do something in this room at the end of the business day, kind of going into the evening. There's lots of places to do it, but do people have an idea around, you know, is this the kind of thing that we really want to wait until at least Memorial Day and start to see some summer people coming back? Or like, it doesn't matter when we do it, as long as we're done by the time school gets out, because then everyone's gone all summer and doing other stuff?
Also, we need to know the sports schedule, the spring sports schedule, because if we put it on a Saturday or on a day that there are games, so we should know what the schedule is and then look for a date that's not.
I've had really both sides of that experience where we kind of set up our open house and we're like, where the heck is everybody? And they're like, oh, they're all playing baseball in the town next door. But we've also set up in like in Raymond, we had our first workshop in a room right next to the gym on the day they were hosting a day-long basketball tournament through the rec center. And there was a popcorn machine, so the smell of popcorn was wafting out of the hallway. So every parent that had a kid was diving in for the popcorn at some point, and sometimes they'd stay for 5 minutes, and sometimes they'd stick around for 20. So taking advantage of those things, like whether it's at the field or at a sporting event or some other thing, like you not only want to avoid a weekend that, you know, people are going to be somewhere else, but you want to like try and capitalize maybe.
What in the sports calendar would be a big event, a sporting event?
Like an opening day thing? Is there a day when they all go and, I don't know, get their shirts and?
I think your idea of incorporating the summer people is a great idea. And, you know, even Memorial Day weekend or something like that, and it's just a one-shot deal. You can get, you know, the natives and summer people.
Yeah, but people are gonna be too busy opening up their camps.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the biggie on Memorial
Oh, I
Weekend.
suppose, yeah.
So that's the other thing is like, you
You
know,
knocked it down.
I get it, so
we have run,
July 3rd.
we've run these meetings as live events where, like, if we had 4 or 5 stations, like the beach station and the school station and the land use station, and kind of replicated those on the webpage, so that the same materials and the same questions, you know, if it's on a day that people are opening up the camp or they're out of town at the sports game, they can still have some level of participation that would be similar to what we were asking folks in person. So I want to make sure that we do that no matter when we decide to do this. But as we get closer to the summer, I would guess maybe the weekends would get a little more precious for people. If we do it before Memorial Day, maybe a Saturday would be fine. Alternatively, like maybe a Thursday evening or some other evening during the week would be fine.
Evenings are tough. As a parent, we want the
Yeah.
parents to come, of the kids, they generally pick their kids up and go to this event, this event, this event, get dinner and get them to bed, and that's it. They're not gonna come up. That's the hard group to get to come, and I know I was exhausted. The last thing I wanted to do was
Right.
go to something after, on a weeknight.
Do we actually have to do one of these, or can we just do small tabling events of the different activities that are going on that we happen to be going to, and we get you the information kind of thing, instead of trying to plan one meeting, community workshop kind of thing, where we're trying to get everyone involved, whereas it might be better for this town to do the smaller tablings.
I think we can do both.
Are we still doing the community calendar? I haven't seen it. So that people can know the different organizations and know what's happening, so that you don't usurp somebody else's.
I didn't see
Yeah, they
anybody
can do the
doing
same thing, wasn't it? Who's the man that sent that out? And it was online.
Somebody was doing it to put on Facebook, but it wasn't anything official. It was basically just because the town wouldn't put anything else on their calendar.
Well, yeah, they were just hoping that people
Yeah.
wouldn't pile up on one day or something, and they'd know.
Oh, yeah, it was
what
a very nice,
organizations
it was a
had
very
something
nice
going.
thing, but nobody's been doing it.
Yeah.
What do people think about that idea of, like, we, I think, kind of came into this thinking we want to have a session that we're a part of and facilitating, and it's a central thing where everybody kind of comes, no matter what the format of it is. very early, like in that first conversation with the town, we were like, well, this committee may want to have, their own ability to organize some smaller sessions. And we had said, yeah, we could help support that with materials, presentations, questionnaires, those kinds of things. I think what you're suggesting is maybe if there's no consensus around a single date or event or something like that, we could rely more on those kind of smaller tabling things. What do people think about that?
I mean, we have the 200th birthday celebration, there was, what, 150 people? There are a certain group of people that will come up here, but I don't think parents are them.
No.
We very rarely see.
That was so many people,
Kids and
because they had
parents.
someplace for the kids to go too, they had
Yes.
Girl Scouts with the kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if we had something in the gym, we could have that again advertised, like an ice cream social on a Sunday afternoon or something. And then, we'd have the food downstairs also, if the Girl Scouts would do it again, we could have the kids go downstairs and they could have their ice cream downstairs.
We'd have to really advertise that babysitting available, because,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
is the challenge, even at the birthday celebration, we had maybe like 5 kids
Yeah, not too many,
downstairs.
yeah.
We didn't have the turnout of the parents.
It was in the
So in
evening
order to
ones.
get the parents
We should do something at school.
to do the survey, we need to meet them where they're at, which is at an activity with their kids.
Okay, we're there, okay.
Whereas
3
up
o'clock
here,
on Saturday
or even
after
down
the
there,
baseball games are
we
over.
get more adults our age kind
So
of thing.
maybe we could have 2 people go to each game or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, people like
If we set
games.
up it, because you have baseball and then you have softball, and of course we only have 1 field of each, so, it's like, there's 3 teams of baseball, 2 of those are away, while 1 is at home, same with softball.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna get them all at 1 game.
Right.
So
It would have to be a recurring tabling event.
What are
I
other people
worry a
thinking
little
about
bit
this?
about someone at every game, because if you harass a parent more than
Yeah.
once, they're gonna be angry, because I would be.
You just
So
set
if
up
you
a
just-
table and then let
Yeah,
them come to you.
let them come to you.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that what your thoughts were, because,
And you need to have something to make sure they go to your table.
Absolutely.
So you need,
yeah.
a
I only harass
couple
people I know.
Yeah.
So for me,
But that
I
could be
think,
set up at the snack shack, like during games, you could actually have it at the snack shack, like,
Yes.
just
I know, I
a
think so.
poster or something, so whether we're in person or not, and that's away from the fields enough.
And just have a table there with you, and you can fill it out.
So that would be our job, to organize those things.
Yes.
And then as far as if we still want, do you think we still should do, like, could we do something at the school, like an ice cream social in their cafeteria or something?
If we partnered with like Spice, it would probably be acceptable, but Spice is literally Sebago Partners in Community Education, right? That's what they stand for. So it's the community and the school coming together, so I think, who's leader of Spice right now? You know?
Oh.
Is it Ann McNeil?
Is it Ann?
Actually, it's.
Claudia, Anna's involved with it, and
Ann is over here too.
So I'm wondering if
when,
partnering with them to host an event in the school to target our younger parents.
I think
Is our
that's
first
great. I think that's
best
about-
step to knock that out of the way.
And the PTA, would that be involved? with
They could,
that
I
too?
can ask Sarah.
And it's obviously during the school year, so
Yeah.
we're getting that particular resident with young
right.
yeah,
family, and then we can do other stuff.
So I think the events are great. The visibility is great. The smaller things where you're targeting people where they are is great, because you're going to get that feedback instead of relying on them to make time or find time to be wherever you are. The one additional thing I'll throw in favor of at least doing a larger format event in addition to those things is that sometimes you get really good group conversations versus one-on-one conversations. And the thing I do like about structured table activities is that you can say, look, here's a problem, or here's a question. You all talk about this as a group with people that you might not otherwise talk to about things like this. and then you can share what you guys have come up with the other tables. And even if we don't do tables, even if it is more of a workshop, just having people with a cup of coffee, bounce around, looking at posters, talking with other people, putting, why'd you put that dot over here when, all the other ones are over here? Like, those can be really interesting conversations to listen to. The dynamic is a little different when you're like having a one-on-one conversation, which is also valuable, but it's different. So, that said, I think we need to help this group figure out what those events are to be at. And I would think also think it's important for us to like maybe double our efforts to get in touch with people at the school. Because it's an event at the school, I think is pretty compelling. But based on all of this discussion, is there a sense like trying to do even an open house, drop in, come as you want, stay as long as you want? If we did something like that.
If we did something on a Saturday morning, we do not have a breakfast place here. So coffee, donuts, I think we get people to come in because they'd have to go 20 minutes to go get that, or so. And most people are so busy by the end of the day that they don't really want to come back out, is my feeling.
I know they're your plans.
They have stuff to do.
Yep.
I think opening picking a day and a time that a lot of people can support if they want to, like a Saturday morning, and opening the time up so that they don't have to show up for the hour that everybody's going to talk. They can show up over a period of time, and then whoever's here at that time period can discuss the issues. I think, and that's another thing I think should come out of the advertising on these meetings. What are the issues? Paul brought up one, and it's the lot size. There's probably a lot of interest in that particular issue. And if people thought we're going to have some discussion of that at one of these Saturday morning meetings, I think they'd show up for it.
Maybe pick out a few of the most likely to be controversial or something, parts of the comprehensive plan that we have. Noise, lot size, things like that, and just pick those out and put those in there. You want to talk about, find some way to get their attention.
So,
And the food.
That kind of brings up a point about the issues. We've already had, 70 surveys back, and some of the questions were in there to kind of expose issues. So you must have some idea already of what 70 people are interested in as far as key issues. So I would use those when I was putting together an agenda for a meeting, so that if I wanted to attend that meeting and I saw that particular issue was going to be discussed by a number of people, I'd want to be there.
Yeah. So what do people think of like an open housey,
In the morning.
like
Saturday
a
morning.
Saturday 9 to
I would do
1
8
or
a.m.
something?
Yep, before everything
because the
gets
dump
dark.
opens at 7. People are already going by, like,
8 to 11.
or 8 to 10 even, yeah. Like if people are gonna, if they're gonna get up and go, they're gonna.
Or to
do it
1.
before
Okay,
10.
yeah. And I'll have the hot chocolate and donuts and coffee and.
Wow.
Have you prepared interviews before doing this?
No.
11, I could deal
Where
with.
we assemble some questions and actually you put people in pairs and they ask each other questions. But it can even work in an interview process where you just develop what those questions are going to be and pull all the themes together. Go from there.
Yeah, I think there are lots of techniques to kind of get people talking once you're in the same place. So part of the thing today is maybe this is a Saturday morning thing. I don't know if there's a place to do it. If people are talking about the transfer station, is there any kind of space down there, or would we have to like, would we have to like,
You also have to think about weather.
you coming up the hill to this building or that building?
We wouldn't even have to rent it.
I think-
It's the same place we did breakfast.
I would
Yeah.
just try to use the town hall.
Yeah,
If it turns out to
Downstairs.
flop, we do another one, like somewhere else.
Okay.
With the school between.
I don't know if the school would do like breakfast on a weekend, because then you have to pay the they have to pay the janitor to open the school and be there the whole time, and it's hourly, and whereas we could.
there are
Are you
restrictions anyway.
When you say town hall, you're talking here
Well,
or
that
where
building.
The one
pancake
The
was?
gym,
The
yeah.
pancake was.
Yeah.
That's a good space for it.
Yeah,
Upstairs or downstairs.
right. Okay. Would, like early May, or do you think like that time between Memorial Day and the school would be more advantageous?
I think maybe after school vacation in April.
I will say April vacation is only 3 weeks away. An open house is relatively easier to set up than it is like if we're gonna do presentations and table activities. But as far as like publicity and securing the venue and that kind of stuff, I think we need at least a month from today.
I would do
Probably,
it before Memorial Day. Once they get up here for that, they're gonna be doing their camps, and Saturday is the best time to clean your camp, get your camp going. And then we'll find a way to get those people something else.
Oh, John down at S&K, the table.
Yeah, we got the tiki bar.
I'll send it to Tiki Bar after
Yeah, do the
Memorial
tiki
Day.
bar presentation.
that's Saturday afternoon.
And Sunday. Sunday's a good day, everyone's
Yeah.
going by.
I'm gonna need to talk with
Um,
Bruce before, maybe I should text him right now.
So is that good enough for folks? I feel like we're honing in on this, and if that is enough direction for us to work with Garrett and folks in town and kind of iron this out, we can give an update in the next week or two and say, hey, we picked the second weekend in May from 8 to 10, or the first weekend in May from 9 to noon, or whatever it is. Is that enough for folks?
Do we have a food budget?
Not that I know of.
Did she ask?
What did you ask?
If we had a food budget,
Oh, okay.
you mentioned coffee and donuts, but how would you?
I don't know, but I don't know what the town manager used for money when we had the thing down at.
He
So they
appropriated.
don't
Voted on by the select board, they approved withdrawing that amount from the.
Yeah, so I think there must be
Who's in space?
something.
We could always go to the select board and ask them for, it's a small amount of
We'll
money.
take it out
really.
of UFB.
Yeah, it's a small amount of money. It's not a lot,
And
but
you
we have
buy
to
a
ask
lot
them
of
for
donuts, you might get a discount at Dunkin' too.
Yeah.
We just won't talk to the lawyer for a week.
That's impossible. You're fresh.
I know, I'm a fresh brat.
Hannaford might get
We could
more of
have
a
more than
discount
donuts.
than Dunkin' Donuts maybe.
Yeah, they
Well,
just.
Dunkin' don't
Don't
discount
tell
it.
Carol I said that.
Well, I feel like this was a good discussion. Unless there's anything else, I would suggest that we move on to the next item on the agenda.
So we'll talk about that next meeting.
There will be an update. I want to make sure if we're talking early May, like we will know, we should be telling the community about this in early April, which means this will be like an email update rather than we're going to talk about it at the next meeting. At the next meeting, I would like much more to focus on the content. What will those questions be? What will the in this corner is going to be the land use discussion, in this corner is going to be the beach discussion, in this corner is going to be the business and economic development discussion. Like, what are those questions and topics going to be? But as far as the when and where, that'll be locked down by the time we meet again in April.
You can have small posters for each, or one of the tables, whatever,
Yeah.
and the poster would say something like, do you want Walmart at Rockford, or do you want Walmart?
Well,
you know?
yes,
Yeah.
so we'll get more into those details at
Yeah,
that.
but you need something to get their attention and they can go there,
I see what you're saying.
not just
The next-
grab a donut and go.
Yeah.
So you'll email us that
Yes, yep, through Garrett with that info.
Yeah.
Great.
I was thinking to get me shot, that's why I was.
Oh,
So, at the last meeting, I had broached this topic of like, who do we need to talk to in town to make sure that we're getting perspectives from the school and the land trust? And everybody kind of looked at me and said, well, we're all right here. Everyone is in this room, we have great connections into the community. So, we wanted to continue that discussion so that we know as well as you all know who you are connected to and who we need to reach out to. I'll turn it over.
Bigger, there's no way I can see it, I don't know how everyone else's eyes.
I'll turn this over to Onarosa, but our hope is, even if these aren't gonna be new names to folks, we wanna try and document this a little bit so that when we have that date in May for the first workshop, or when we have an understanding of like, hey, who do we reach out to make sure that there's space for us at the baseball field? Or can we use the snack shack, or those kinds of things, we'll know who to talk to. Or who do we talk to at Spice or at the school for the ice cream social or whatever it is. So, do you wanna kind of take it from here and just kind of walk through like the categories that we usually think of as important for different stakeholder groups to reach out to? We wanna do a little work at the meeting, but also want to share this with you to kind of help fill in some of the blanks because we're not going to completely fill this in tonight.
I'll start with the categories, but then I think I want to just jump right into it. We've kind of found like outdoors, business community, young people, parents, we've already been talking about that a lot. Landowners, this also includes like neighborhood associations or road associations. And then social groups at the church, Lions Club, book group, any of these types of social groups that you go to. But we already talked about Spice, so I want to just already get that contact information and see who the right person is for that. I heard Ann McMahon.
Yeah, I have Claudia's number, I probably have Ann's too.
Claudia as well, Phil's wife. Yeah. And my wife is on Spice as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
so I
maybe
wasn't sure
you
about
would
that.
be
Okay.
the person to go through.
Sure,
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Great,
I'll
It's
pass it
Claudia
on to
Lowe,
Marcy.
Lowe is her last name.
thank you. Can you remind me of your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, you wouldn't know it. I just came in to visit today, that's all. To see what's going on. But it's Bob La Liberty.
Okay, sorry?
Garrett knows it. Garrett has.
Great.
La Liberty, L-A-L. I-B-E-R.
I'm not spelling that correct.
La with liberty on the end.
Okay, oh, yeah. Great. And I heard already some people talking about reaching out to their road associations. I don't know if I need to put down every road association, but I want to hear maybe again who's reaching out, who's emailing them.
Who's one?
Of your Long Beach Community Association.
You have that one.
I emailed him and he said he'd be happy to pass along information at the community association meeting.
Francis or
Bruce Hart.
oh, Bruce. Is that for Long Beach? Great.
I think if we need some of the outside organizations too. They have a stake in the lake and in the town, like the Portland Water District. And I didn't know whether I should call them and see who to contact or not, because I didn't know there was someone else who would have contacted them. I don't want to harass anybody.
Great. Yep, that is one of the questions we have. We know the Land Trust, for example, works in many other communities, not just Sebago, but there's other groups like that, like what
Bruce Hart.
is the Chamber of Commerce, like, is that the Lakes Region Chamber? Or
I
is
think
that?
so. It's a-
272.
I don't know if they do
It's
anything
more
in
than one
Sebago, to
town.
be honest.
Okay.
Do we have it? Why would we have a
It's-
Chamber of Commerce?
People
Yeah.
use Lakes Region and then they focus on the more populated areas and don't actually realize that Sebago's a town.
So it's,
Just being blunt about it.
yeah, so
I don't really care, but they don't really
9-6,
do much here.
Gotcha.
9-6.
So who would, is there a group
Is
or
that
an
your name?
individual who
Sorry.
speaks
No,
for
it's the president of the association,
Can you remind me of your name? I'm sorry.
Tina Vaness.
There's also a building at the end of Quest, opposite the lake, at like the end of Quest, that,
That's,
Jordan Store.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
would
right.
be a great
well,
spot.
we could meet there.
Yes.
I'm just,
Tables.
It's the Long Beach
Long
Community
Beach
Association's
Road
building, but
Association.
they'll host events there.
Yeah,
You can put
Well-
Northwest River Association, because Kurt Christensen is in charge of it. He's not here tonight, but
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, he's the.
There's also an Anderson Road Association, and Phil Lowe would be the contact for that, but I don't have my phone.
No, he's part of this too. Do you have?
he's on this
they would
group.
have-
yeah.
Is he on this committee?
Yes.
Oh,
He's on vacation.
I have another one too. It's Northwest Shores Association. I gave it to you last time, but it's Claudia Campbell's the contact.
Also, some of the venues here, like our wedding venues and, of course, Rich's, he knows everything that's going on, but the wedding venues and also like the York family, they have the cabins up on Woodlawn.
Mhm.
They rent out, yeah, that's another business.
For landowners, you can also say the Intervale Community Association, Intervale Street. And I reached out to them already
Great.
with asking them to do the survey.
And did you say you already have LEA and Moon Echo and even Nature Conservancy?
Yes, so we've got Loon Echo, what were the other ones?
Lake Environmental Association, LEA.
Do you have a connection to them, or?
Their office is in Bridgeton, I know that, but I can't think of any names, yeah. But they have, the school probably knows too, because they visit the school and take the kids out sometimes.
And the rec director should have contact because he
Oh, yeah,
hires the courtesy boat inspectors for the town beach.
Yeah. Yeah, so the town itself probably has all that information, yeah. And Nature Conservancy is, I think, they sometimes partner. I don't know whether we have any land, do we have any land here that they bought in Sebago?
No.
The conservation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not here, right?
All the trails that I see are Loon Echo. so-
Isn't this get access to people? Is that what these are for?
Yeah, so what we're looking to do is, number one, make sure we've got the right categories on the far left column. Like, usually these are the groups that people want to hear from or know that the comp plan is going to impact the work of those kinds of groups. The next column is really what are the groups, like when we think about the outdoors, it's the conservation folks, but sometimes it's recreation groups, sometimes it's, activities, clubs, those kinds of things, like snowmobile clubs. And then as we drill down, what we're really trying to get to is like, who is the person and how do we reach them? To make sure that we're getting some good representation across all of these groups. So I would love to keep getting a few more ideas from folks, but maybe within another 5 minutes or so. But what we really want to do is this is a Google sheet that we can share via email, and everybody here will have the ability to kind of go in after this meeting and add as many groups and names as you want. So we do not need to be coming up with a complete list in this room in this moment, but we wanted to at least give you an idea of what we're trying to do, what we need, and ultimately these folks will be on the invitation list for these events and trying hopefully become ambassadors for this as well. Because if we've got the Lakes Region Environmental folks who send out their regular newsletters, they're going to say, hey, Sebago's working on this comp plan and they really want to hear people about these kinds of issues. And
You should put the Lions Club on there,
Yeah.
they're pretty active.
When you
Sebago
might,
branch duckers.
The branch suckers,
I
yeah.
think they're already on there.
when you might put under landowners is the Maine Woodlands Association, which
What
is
trails?
out of
I like
Augusta. They just had a new person appointed director, a woman, I don't recall her name offhand, but they, you know, have had some input in the past in how we constructed the original plan. So, you know, was based on their original recommendation of lot sizes and stuff. So it's a thought.
Okay.
What about Alan's stuff, or the farm stuff? Is there an agriculture community thing in here? or- Because of the land, the comprehensive plan will affect,
Oh, yeah, but
will
there's no,
affect
like,
that, but there's
room.
nobody to, okay.
Now,
Do you have the churches on
the
the,
farms?
Yes.
um,
These were the ones that I found on the website. There was the Northern Sebago United Methodist Church
Mhm.
and Sebago Center Community Church.
and there's a Nazarene church.
Church of the
And the
Nazarene.
Nazarene,
Yeah,
that's right,
right.
in East Sebago.
East,
East Sebago, it's called the Nazarene.
okay. Are any of you connected to those communities, or?
Are you connected to it at all?
Church, yeah.
Which one?
Nazarene or
No.
any of the other ones?
I know Sebago.
North Sebago, okay.
Yeah. I can get a contact number.
That would be great, yeah, if there's even a newsletter they have that we can get our information into.
They should be, when, they do a bake sale, right? At Bake and Craft, are they still doing that? That's a good place to advertise.
They have an exercise program up there too.
Oh, they do on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's quite active.
Do you go?
That Wednesday
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
the Wednesday market.
Tina, you can take some flyers later.
I hear it.
Yeah, so if there are things like, even if there's seasonal things like maybe a farmer's market, I don't know if that's what you're
I
talking
run the
about.
Yeah,
Community
it's on
market.
Wednesday, the community market on Wednesday.
Yes, I
That's
run
the
it.
name of summer. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zoe would know that.
I run it. You run it?
Yeah, Zoe.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to put up a table, you can put up a table. It's not starting until middle of June though. But it's like 50-50, like residents or like, we get a lot of people from out of
Vacation.
town.
Sure.
There's also the Penobscot Nation. They have a clubhouse on the street.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
Goes down to the beach.
They're
Use
active.
Pocahontas.
And that would,
We always call it the
Isn't it?
Redman's Lodge.
no, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
sign
It's
says.
Ken Grant is the head of
But is
that.
that
What about the
politically
marina?
correct now, or is that what they're calling themselves?
Yeah, the two marinas.
That's all I'm asking. I don't care. I don't know. No. You can call it what you want, but I mean, if
Maybe
we're doing
other businesses, the marinas,
Yeah.
if those.
Yeah,
Long
Long
Beach
Beach
Marina
Marina.
and then,
We should not.
So I guess in the absence of like, an association or a chamber of commerce, if there's some key businesses in town.
We'll ask the two of them.
Jordan's.
So, yeah, it sounds like
SKK.
everyone knows who
I think
those are.
if you share this, I can add
SKK.
Yeah.
like Long Beach Marina's contact, Sam's contact and
Okay.
information and everything too.
What was the second, marina?
Sportsman's Kitchen, right?
You've got Gabby's store that'll open up.
Gems, yeah.
Mud City Diving Service. He knows more
Yeah,
people than any of us.
He does
That's
know
right.
people.
What's
This
Mud
is
City?
Mud
This
City,
is
we're
Mud
in Mud
City.
City.
It's called Mud City because in the old days,
It's muddy.
because all the water comes down from the mountains, this place used to be just mud.
I
Like
saw
the
it on
road was-
So
like
it's called the
wagons.
Mud
Oh, no
City
kidding.
Station, but my husband, Phil,
Yeah,
owns a mooring business called Mud City Dive Service.
okay.
Oh, wow.
So he does a lot of the moorings on the lake and chain replacements and all that, and that's what he's called.
I'm gonna explain. They
He
can
knows
get
the
again.
word.
Put a, you know what, we could put like a flag, he's gonna be out soon as ice is out, he's on the water. Just
So-
put a big banner.
That's right on
Is
his
there more
boat.
we want to do with this?
Oh,
I
no, this
think,
gets the,
Do you have both marinas?
well, no.
They're
I
gonna,
didn't get the
they're gonna
second
email it
one.
out.
Yeah,
so
we'll
we
just
can
fill it
add
out once we
yeah,
get there.
I think now that people all have a sense of what we're looking for, we can like just let individually, you can all kind of go in and have access to it and add as many things as you think are relevant to this, and then that way we'll just have them all together. We'll be able to use the contact info if we have it, and we can try and track it down if we don't have it.
And I would also say this is like just encouraging you to think about those road associations when there's an email going out. Can you put this information in there too? And it sounds like that's already happening, so just keep it up.
So we got about 15 minutes left today. I wanted to take maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the time we've got left and give you a sense of we've talked a lot about public participation, we've talked a lot about reaching people in the community. The other part of the work that we've started in the background is related to what we call the inventory chapters. It's the required data that the state will be looking for when they review every town's comprehensive plan. They said, did you include this data? Did you consider these questions? And that is very commonly the weightiest part, the most page count is related to the research. So what we have started to do and what we aim to do over the next 4 months or so is complete those inventory chapter drafts and bring those drafts to the committee in batches as we get, a handful done each month, probably, 2 to 4 each month. Bring those to the committee to review to make sure that they are complete and accurate. So we're going to do our best to make sure we cover all the bases for the state. We do not want you guys to necessarily go do research. We don't necessarily want you to do writing and drafting of these chapters, but we want you to read them and say, oh, you forgot about this, or maybe we also need to talk about this. Things that we might have missed just because I think the way I put it earlier is a lot of this info comes from the census. A lot of it comes from state housing. It comes from other sources outside of town. And you guys are in the town. And so you are the closest to a lot of this data. So if you read something that you're like, that doesn't even make sense, we'll want to know about that.
It would help to have up-to-date census data for the town, perhaps surrounding towns. You can provide that next meeting, because it kind of plays into the state laws and the fact that the state law is designed to produce units, allow for more units. The problem is in our town, a lot of the units that are being produced are ending up in the hands of tourists or B&B and not necessarily local people trying to do that. So at some point, that's what I'd like to address at some point, because that seems to me at the heart of how we have to adjust our plan to the state requirements. Thank you.
Yeah, so very good point. The requirements, there's a state data set, which is, it sounds a lot more grandiose than it actually is. It's basically a link to the website that they try and compile a lot of this info on a statewide basis, and part of our work is to go get the Sebago specific portions of it and put it together in a way that makes sense. And the requirements, there's a big long checklist that we can spend a little more time on at a future meeting, but the topics are going to be very familiar. I actually pulled up on the other screen the table of contents from the 2006 plan, the current plan. Population, existing land use, transportation, public facilities and services, fiscal capacity, economy, housing, natural resources, history and culture, capital investment plan. These are the same categories that carry forward. So we're going to start with these same things. We're going to update where we can. If you want to show an early draft, we didn't send anything out in advance of this meeting because we were still in the process of drafting these. And I think an important thing to include here is the maps and graphics that kind of go with the text. So these things are essentially going to be 8 to 10 pages long. Meant to be a snapshot of the town's resources, existing conditions. There will be some pointers to other things, like for example, when we talk about the history of Sebago, we don't necessarily want to rewrite or write a book about the town's history. We want to say, look, there's some really good sources out there, here's a summary, but here's some good sources if you're interested in learning more.
As a committee, we've brought it up pretty much every meeting. Can we actually spend some time and actually review the existing document so that what we want to stay the same stays the same?
I reviewed it, did anyone? We just didn't do it here.
As a committee, I would love to sit down and brainstorm as a committee as to what is written in this original document from 20 years ago.
Take it in sections.
Yes.
I'd also like to see, with that idea, I'd like to see the sections and then next to it broken down into very simple, what is this about? And that's something that we could have at that meeting, you know, at the stations that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for people to understand what's the main thing, what is this trying to do?
But that wouldn't be part of this, right? This is all data, this first part.
It is largely gonna be data, it's gonna be existing conditions, it's gonna be an inventory of the town's facilities. For example, the chapter about public facilities and services. It's gonna be saying, you know, the town has these buildings, this building is this old and has this many square feet. That building is newer and is smaller. The town has X number of fire trucks and Y number of ambulances, and they're this old. And then that kind of ties in with a capital improvement plan that says, here's the schedule for replacing those vehicles. It's very...
So what does that have to do with the comprehensive plan?
That's later.
In the beginning of it.
Yeah, so as part of the comprehensive plan, there's really two parts to the plan. When we think about the plan, there's the forward-looking part of the plan, which is a lot of what we've talked about in our meetings so far. And frankly, this is where I want to keep you guys thinking. It mostly is about the future and the values, the vision, the goals, and the recommendations. The other part of the plan is the inventory. So it's the big book report that kind of sits underneath the recommendations. It helps inform the recommendations. So if you find like, hey, the town has X number of acres of surface water bodies and Y number of ponds, but hey, we've only got public access to 3 of them. Like that could lead to a discussion on, do we need more public access and what does the access include? And is it just an unimproved boat ramp or is it a full trailer access with restaurant facilities, that kind of stuff? So that's essentially how we use that info. My challenge, I challenge our team every time, is like, how do we take 100 pages of inventories and turn it into a 2-page fact sheet? Like, it's just like, here's the population, here's the average housing price, here's the, how many parks and playgrounds and conservation land, and just kind of boil it down to the headlines. And then use that as a discussion starter at something like an open house or these neighborhood meetings we've been talking about.
But the visioning part is what we need to go over together and discuss when we get to that.
I want to use the vast majority of our precious monthly meeting time thinking about the future and less about the wordsmithing and like, Ben, you actually forgot to mention we updated the carpeting in the basement of the library, which there are many committees we work with who are very interested in that and want to make sure we get it, and that's great, but we don't need to spend everybody's meeting time talking about the details of that kind of stuff. We just want to make sure that ultimately they're going to be complete and accurate, and you can help us do that. So that's a little bit of what they look like. I will take a quick kind of poll of the group. The next meeting is really going to be focused, once we have a date and a location, it's gonna be focused more on the program of what this open house would be, and then talking a little bit more detail about how can we help support you coming out of this, like how do you build on this with like either more local or church-based or sports-based or whatever those topical meetings, that smaller groups that you wanna help facilitate. So that's the next meeting, and then maybe the meeting after that, we'll have a chance to get more into the inventory work. Does this group want to kind of take a look at the current plan? And as you know, we've got a section of the survey that says, hey, here's the vision statement from the current plan. How much of this do we need to get into for the current plan? It sounds like maybe the structure, the format, like.
The current plan is pretty good, and it seems to be functioning, and I haven't heard many complaints from the town. But the challenge, again, I go back to it, is how the mandated state laws affect our ability to continue. What I'd like to is continue with our plan, which seems to be having the desired effect of keeping the rural more rural and concentrating the development a little, but that's, like I said, the challenge may be interacting with the state at some level, and if I could speak to them, I'd tell them that, you know, you need to come off the accelerator a little, free everywhere, and come back and talk to us about our currently existing plan and where in our currently existing plan some of that might actually fit. With the understanding that in our currently existing plan, there are density benefits already. So I'd like to say to them, is we're doing what you wanted, why don't you stop with the foolishness? I mean, there's a lack of sophistication and understanding.
I think.
How
that
about if we
were-
invited,
Okay.
how about if we invited our state representative to one of the
Yeah,
next
that's what we
meeting?
should do, yeah.
I mean, the politicians love to be invited to stuff.
They can pontificate some, and we
Yeah.
make our position that we want some reform of the law to understand that, to be more user-friendly to the towns.
And not overriding the towns. In
Not
our current
overriding the
comprehensive
towns.
plan, we have a growth cap of 5% per year. And I'm not sure if our CEO is even aware of that. Because no one's.
But that wouldn't be for the next meeting. Next meeting, we have to focus on what we're gonna say at the
Yeah.
thingy, so it would be the
I like that
following.
idea, but maybe we can think about that as a later in the summer or fall kind
Sure.
of activity. And frankly, if we have a survey done and have a bunch of meetings under our belts, we have a little more to offer, say, this is what we're hearing, and this is what's important. And that could be useful for folks to hear as well. So I will say, a little bit of a preview for next meeting, based on a couple conversations or points I've heard, is that the future land use plan, which is part of the plan that looks ahead and makes recommendations around where should development happen, where should development not happen, you know, the types and intensity of development.
Whether or not the town has a growth district.
So those are shaped, essentially the state looks at it as growth areas and rural areas. And where will the town, when you designate your growth area, are you talking about this kind of growth, or are you talking about this kind of growth? There's the geographic component, where you're gonna draw that line on the map.
Well, we've already done that.
It's
So-
changed a little bit.
Yeah, so I think an important part of this effort might be to say, hey, Town of Sebago, here's the growth area from 2006. Is that, how much of that is still relevant? You know, are there adjustments we need to make? Is there more detail that we can provide around, you know, when we said this is a growth area, now we want to maybe keep the lines on the map, but add a little more narrative around what it is and what we envision and what that would be. Because there is, as people are aware, it sounds like, many people, growth areas and rural areas have been required elements of the comp plan since people have had to do comp plans going back to the early 80s, but they mean an awful lot more now than they did 5 years ago because of density and because of lot size and because of number of units per lot and some of the other recent legislative changes. So,
But the units per lot defeats their original purpose to the point where you wonder the level of sophistication of those responsible for it, or you don't wonder, you
Yeah.
realize you're dealing with people who aren't that sophisticated, having done.
Well, and I'm not gonna for or against elements of the statute, but I will say they probably didn't have Sebago in mind when they
No, they didn't think it through clearly,
There's a wide
didn't talk
range,
about the effect.
there's a wide range of communities that are impacted to greater or lesser degrees. And frankly, just my editorial 2 cents, Sebago's probably gonna be impacted to a lesser degree, maybe a much lesser degree than other communities.
That may be based on traditional expectations of those who want to come here, and they're not particularly interested in the multi-unit housing when they want to settle down in rural Maine.
So I think there's a lot to talk about, and I want to make sure that at the next meeting, we can be thinking about how do we have those conversations as a community? How do we start having them at this May timeframe? But how do we continue that through the effort? And then we may even get into how will some of those discussions start shaping recommendations in the plan itself?
The residents really need to know how this is going to affect their town of this new legislation, LD 1829, LD 2003, how that's going to affect the growth of the town, and as to whether or not you create a growth district, how that's going to affect the growth of your town. So a lot of this information, I mean, the public ought to know this right now, and they don't. And we're gonna have them fill out a survey without them knowing this information. And in my mind, that's a little problematic.
As part of the survey, you include a page that says this is what's happening, this is what the state law is doing and mandating.
So the survey does not mention LD 1829 or LD 2003, but at a high level. And this was kind of the tension. We want that detail, we want to have conversations with people. And it sounds like we're well on our way to doing that. But when people sit down and fill out a survey, maybe they got 3 minutes or 5 minutes and they're not gonna read a 10-page PowerPoint about.
No.
But I think what we're trying to do is hey, these are important issues. I think when we have conversations, we can start to say, here's why they're important and what it means to have this conversation.
The planning board did get a nice PowerPoint, sort of 1 or 2 page bullet point that did help us explain to us, or something like that. But that's the education the public needs and also the message, once they understand that, I think the message will be pretty strong, no, we don't want this. And that message needs to go back to Augusta, we want this fixed. We don't want to sit here and try to play games at our end, we want to go back to you guys and get you to understand that this simple Simon approach isn't working and we want something better and more sophisticated.
Maybe you could link something on the website to some
And
of
we
that
can get a
information.
politician in here and chew on his ear for something that might be more effective.
And other towns that I've watched their comprehensive plan meetings, they are fighting against the state
Yeah,
with
that
these
needs to be
mandates, and probably
overreaching
Sebago
and it's not a
ought to join on.
Well, I don't feel like we're not there yet though, right?
But then again, we need that input from the taxpayers as to what do they want for growth? What do they want for, instead of just us in this room?
Can I make a recommendation that this group, because I don't think I know enough about it as a member to talk about it, could we have that PowerPoint or you guys on the planning board come in and?
Oh, this is the pamphlet that everybody ought to have and review.
Can we email it to the group?
Maybe Garrett could make copies.
I can make copies, or I can scan it and send it out to you.
Well, there you go.
I would email it.
This gives a great deal of information, but we're going to be up against.
And then maybe Zoe could put it on.
Going down a rabbit hole, but
Anybody's
no one
welcome to
knows.
post
Yeah,
Everyone
so-
knows.
Anybody.
I think what I'm hearing is some people know a fair bit about this legislation. Some people are maybe hearing about it for the first time or know a lot less about it. I think that it's important for everyone to have at least a high level understanding. I don't know that everyone on the committee needs to like turn into lobbyist level experts, but they need to understand like what is the implication of having a growth area in 2026 and 2030 when you say these are the places we want to invest, these are the places we want to see more economic activity and residential activity, and these are the places we want to protect from the impacts of development. Because once you have that high level sense, you can start to say, well, if this is gonna be a growth area, this could see higher density, or people could put a second home on their property, or this is what it might mean for lot sizes in the future, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we have to worry about how we deal with it, meaning it's happening. I don't want to be a lobbyist group where we're saying, don't do it, because it's not going to work for us. But how does the town plan?
That's right.
How do we plan to work with it? And what, to me, I thought that what ordinances have to come out of the plan to protect us under the law? You know, so we have to know what the law is, but how do we work with it? I mean, lobbying is, that's not why I'm here.
Sebago
Just
can
saying.
oppose it. We have, because we don't have public sewer, because we don't have public water, and because we want to remain rural, those are all justifiable reasons that we can not
Is
have
that
a
the
growth
comprehensive
district.
plan's
We may
job,
have
or
to
is that a
adjust it.
different committee?
It could be, but I think we all have to know it as a committee before we even.
Yeah.
We
Because
may
I'm not
have
gonna
to adjust to
understand
it, but why do we have to take it? Why don't we proactively say we don't want it? We may eventually have to adjust to it, but.
Oh,
I didn't know we couldn't, I didn't know we had to do it, but I want to know more about it before I say anything.
I
that's the
printed out
information we need to
a,
have.
We're getting way off this.
We are.
So
no
I-
growth district, and, or a, with the growth district or without a growth district, some information if you want.
Yeah, I would rather have it in an email than a piece of paper, if that's
Yeah.
possible, please.
So why don't we build in some time at the next meeting to talk a little bit more about what some of these things are at a very high level? Because that could help shape how we talk about it with the community, or how much we talk about it. Like, it might be at a first introduction to the community, you know, maybe I would probably recommend avoiding talking about lot sizes or, you know, getting too technical, but thinking more about like, this is a historic, you know, this is a place where people live and work, and there's always been activity here. In the future, should there be more activity or about the same as today? Should geographically that center of activity should be a little bigger, or do we want it to be about the same? And I think starting with the 2006 plan and having people think about what those areas are would be a really good start to the workshop. And that could be a lot of information for people to engage with, especially if they're just popping in for 15 minutes. But we could also think about like, are there takeaways or handouts or something that
Yeah, there
would
should
be
be a
useful
map
for
that shows
folks
the
to.
districts, you know, the rural, the village districts.
So there's Sebago specific things, which is really my focus for these kinds of workshops, but then there's also like the context in which we are planning and the implications of the planning that I think some people are starting to go to tonight. So we should talk about where these ideas intersect a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I prefer,
Right now, the growth in Sebago is regulated by our schedule of use for each district. So under the schedule of uses, that tells you what you can and cannot do in each district.
Right, and we already have maps of the
Right,
districts.
so we don't have a growth district as they talk about in legislation.
Okay. Are there other questions or comments?
I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to throw that new statutes out to the public without telling them what we're going to do about it before or what we're going to try to do about it. So I think people are going to start arguing on Facebook, and it's going to be stupid. So if we want to inform them, maybe our thing is the best way.
What we've found through experience is kind of wading into these things. Like, that's why the survey is like, what are your favorite places? What do you love? Like, just things that anybody could answer, trying to like make sure that as many people as possible have access to this process. And as we go through, we're gonna be getting more and more detail, more and more specific, and there will be opportunities for people to dive right into regulations and those kinds of things, because ultimately, the comp plan is the basis for zoning, it's the basis for land use ordinances and those kinds of things. But I think we need to figure out like what is the right balance and how quickly do we get into that as we go through this process.
Is there anyone here from the ordinance committee?
Yeah.
There isn't one. Planning board.
Well, no,
We don't have to.
So,
It's part of the
Garrett, do you have
Oh, it is.
anything like announcements or materials or any final thoughts for tonight?
Well, just, there's been a lot of interest in LD 1829, 2003, so I'll send out the raw document as well as the state's like explanation of it. And I don't want to, I hesitate to say it because it's still in the works, but the code officer and I are working with the state to try and get someone out here, whether it's in person or by Zoom, to give a presentation on it. It won't be like one of the lawmakers, it'll be someone whose job is to explain it, right? So it's not the guy that made the law, it's just someone that's.
Come on.
So that's why I say.
Target.
That's why I say, because we've done meetings with like all the code officers in the region and this guy, and I feel bad for him because it's just, they're always grilling him, and he didn't write the law, you know, he's just trying to tell us about it.
Like grilling the kid won't do us any good, we need to grill the lawmaker.
Exactly, yeah. But I don't have too much concrete information about when that will be. It'll probably be like I think we're gonna try and structure it as like a planning board workshop, where, you know, we can get the planning board in, and then we can have audience members as well. But I don't have dates or anything about that yet, so we're still really early in talking about that.
So our next meeting is April 28th,
What time?
5 o'clock
It's a
in this room.
Tuesday?
Is it the point? It should be,
Oh,
It's a Monday.
then it
It's
should
a
be the
Tuesday.
27th.
It'll be
our
27th.
next meeting is the 27th.
Okay.
It's always the fourth Monday.
I think they scheduled a road committee meeting for at 5 PM that day.
I will,
maybe that's
thank you for the note. We'll coordinate that.
What's it gonna be, 27th or 28th?
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
yes, it's one of those.
There's probably meetings both days.
Well, Tuesday's gonna be busy with
Yeah.
work, looks like.
Yeah, I think we had a pretty good plan to like, just make sure you could like block off the next fourth Mondays
Oh, I
for the
can't
next
do that.
11 months.
Teresa will be Denise.
But there could be an occasional conflict that we need to take into account. So we will confirm that. Stay tuned to your email because there will be more email materials as we firm up dates and programs, and we will be aiming to send a first batch of inventory chapters. Again, probably like 3 or 4 inventory chapters for you to look at least a week ahead of that meeting. So it feels like things are, you know, the boulder's starting to roll a little faster down the hill as we get going in progress. So email will be a great way to stay tuned, and we'll be sending a lot of stuff to Garrett to send to the group that way.
What was the homework?
Thank you.
Yep, homework will be to keep promoting that survey and review the first batch of chapters when they come out.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.